can smell alcohol off your breath.
But I'm not drunk. I can tell you that. I can promise you that I do, but yeah, I'm on your TV.
Ma'am?
I said I'm on your TV.
Yo, literally, GloRilla's jail footage just leaked online, and it's wild. She's walking circles, talking to herself, and clearly fighting a battle in her head. But here's the twist. This ain't just about charges. Nah, folks say there's way more going on. Secret hookups, backdoor drama, and some real shady moves. Something ain't right, and the internet going crazy trying to figure it out. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. The Shady Tapes.
GloRilla was arrested in Georgia on felony drug charges and was booked Tuesday in Forsyth County, Georgia. I believe I'm saying that correct. The charges were possession of a scheduled controlled substance.
The footage of GloRilla in jail hit the internet fast, and it's got everyone talking. The streets and the internet are already cooking up wild conspiracies. Because this arrest wasn't just about drugs or some break-in. This was personal, this was messy. And depending on who you ask, it might have been something way deeper going on behind them locked doors. Let's talk about the footage first. One of them guards in the clip, he got people side-eyeing everything. He wasn't just standing in the background like the others. Nah, he was moving different. Folks swore up and down that Glo and this guard were way too comfortable for it to be their first time crossing paths. Word is, they've been messing around before the arrest. Not rumors that started after. People been claiming this was a low-key situation for months. Some folks say he used to be security at one of her shows. Others say he was just in her circle, popping up in places real fans noticed. Nobody put it together until now. Now everybody connecting dots. They saying it ain't no accident she ended up in that jail with that guard on shift. Like maybe he pulled strings, maybe he tipped somebody off. One theory floating around, that the guard might have been the one who leaked the footage himself out of jealousy, clout chasing, or trying to expose something that wasn't supposed to get out. But just when you thought that was wild enough, another name started floating around, one of the robbers. Yeah, one of the 3 masked men who broke into her house. He wasn't just some stranger. He was someone GloRilla used to kick it with on the low. Before the fame, before the hits, back when she was still in the trenches. Might have been a fling or a side dude she cut off when she leveled up, but folks swear there's history there. People pulled out old lyrics, old tweets, even club videos where she might have been with him. Nothing confirmed, but the timeline, messy as hell.
Never win out like no hoe, you know I'm always going in. Run up air off some drunk and I ain't talking about no hands. Let me think and I'm not bad. Bitch, come get up with me then.
The theory? He knew her schedule. He knew when she'd be out of town, performing at the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis. He knew the house, knew who'd be inside. And most importantly, he knew where the good stuff was. Jewelry, cash, maybe more. Chapter 2, GloRilla got robbed.
There are growing calls for change tonight after the arrest of rapper GloRilla. Forsyth County deputies responded to her home for a burglary last week.
But they claimed to smell marijuana, so they got a search warrant, then arrested her after finding weed.
Now here's where the whole story flips on its head. It's the early morning hours of July 20th, around 1:30 a.m., and GloRilla is miles away, out in Indianapolis, performing live at the WNBA All-Star Game halftime show. Thousands of people in the stands, cameras rolling, stage lit. Meanwhile, back in Georgia, things are going left fast. 3 masked intruders hit Glo's home in the St. Marlowe subdivision of Forsyth County. But this wasn't no random hit. These dudes moved with intention. They didn't waste time ransacking the place like amateurs. They went straight for the valuables: jewelry, designer bags, cash. It was like they had a shopping list and a map. Someone inside, one of her family members, was home and heard the commotion. They fired warning shots trying to scare the intruders off. It worked. The suspects grabbed what they could and dipped out. No injuries, but the damage was done. Cops show up shortly after. And this is the moment everybody thought would go the way it's supposed to. Investigate the break-in, look for fingerprints, collect evidence, check cameras, actual police work. But nah, that's not what happened. As soon as they stepped inside, the officers claimed they smelled marijuana. And that smell, that was all they needed. Suddenly, this wasn't a burglary scene no more. It was a drug raid. They call in a judge, get a search warrant, and next thing you know, they're tearing through GloRilla's home like they're the ones doing the robbing. Closets flipped, drawers open, personal stuff tossed around. And what do they say they found? A little over an ounce of weed and something else. A Schedule I controlled substance.
GloRilla ended up getting arrested herself after investigators, they got a search warrant, and then eventually they discovered upwards of 3 pounds of marijuana in her bedroom closet.
Let's be real. Schedule I, that's serious time. We're talking heroin level charges. Stuff like LSD, ecstasy, drugs the feds don't play about, but Glo wasn't even in the house. She wasn't even in the state. And she's got video proof of her on stage in another city while all this is going down. That should have been enough to clear her, but somehow she ends up the prime suspect.
I think they took things too far, and I think they also probably already profiled this home.
Glo didn't stay silent. She hit Twitter with the truth and laid it out in plain language. My house got home invaded Saturday while I was in Indianapolis performing for the WNBA All-Star Game. And instead of focusing on finding the suspects, they focused on some cannabis. She made it clear, this wasn't a bust. This was a robbery, and she was the victim. So, no, I wasn't busted. My house got robbed. I wasn't home. Long story short, my house gets home invaded, and I'm the only one that gets arrested. And what did Glo do when she heard the news? She didn't run. She didn't duck off. She didn't send her lawyers to play games. She walked straight into the police station on July 22nd and turned herself in like a boss, head high, calm, composed, probably thinking this was just a mix-up that would get sorted out quick. But nah, that's when the system hit her with the real weight. They processed her like a criminal, took her mug shot, set her bond at $20,260, which, let's be honest, ain't nothing for someone at her level. She posted it and walked, but by then, it was already too late. Check this out. One fan posted, she was literally the victim of a crime, yet she was arrested and her assailants are out in the wind still.
I definitely feel like she's a victim in this situation with her being arrested.
I actually laughed about it. It does not affect my opinion of her as a woman, as an artist, or any of that. She's young, she's doing great, and I wish her very much more success.
The damage was done. Her mugshot was all over the blogs, TMZ, Twitter. Headlines like GloRilla arrested on felony drug charges were trending before she even left the station. And you want to know what those headlines didn't mention? The burglary, the fact that she was the victim, the fact that she called for help and got handcuffed instead. And while all this was happening, the 3 men who actually broke into her home, still out there. No arrests, no updates, no pressure, just vanished into the night with her stuff and left her to face the consequences. She didn't hold back. She told it straight. So no, I wasn't busted. My house got robbed. I wasn't home. Long story short, I got robbed and I'm the one arrested. That post went viral. Over 60,000 likes, thousands of reposts. Fans were outraged. How you rob somebody and they end up in jail? One post read. Another said, she's literally the victim and somehow still the only one behind bars. Make it make sense.
If you give them access to your home, they're supposed to be there to help you get rid of the criminal act, not criminalizing you.
It wasn't just Glo speaking out. Celebs started weighing in. People started digging into the legal side, comparing her case to others, pointing out the blatant double standard.
It makes no sense to me because are you responsible for what's in your house? If you're not home, you had guests there, you had somebody break in. The people that broke in could have dropped that. I don't know. I'm just saying, are you just responsible because she's the homeowner?
And while she sat in a holding cell, her robbers were probably somewhere out there counting her money. Chapter 3, Past Mistakes. Soon as the arrest made headlines, folks didn't waste a second before pulling out the receipts. Before the court even looked at the case, the internet already had its own trial. And just like that, everything from Glo's past, whether serious or silly, got dragged back into the spotlight like it happened yesterday. First up, that DUI stop in Gwinnett County from April 2024.
Turn around for me.
Will you let me pee on the side of the road?
No, ma'am. We'll get to the jail in just a moment, okay?
She got pulled over for making an illegal U-turn, but it escalated fast. Officers claimed they smelled alcohol, saw an open container, and next thing you know, they got her taking a breathalyzer. She tried to tell him, I had a little something at the club, but that wasn't enough to slide. Then came the line that went viral. Do you know who I am? That one sentence turned the whole clip into a meme. Overnight, she wasn't just a rapper with a case. She was a punchline. Folks were remixing the audio, making skits, doing TikToks. But real ones could see the truth. She was frustrated, not arrogant.
The internet is calling out what's happening to GloRilla right now. And
how y'all arrest me when I'm the one that got robbed? And another, I see why people don't call the police anymore.
Still, the internet don't care about context. Then there was that funny Marco cereal joke. In an interview, he asked her the wildest thing she ever stole. Glo laughed and said, man, I went to jail for stealing cereal from Kmart, did 3 years. They both burst out laughing. It was a clear joke, but when the clip hit Twitter without context, some folks actually believed it. Before she knew it, blogs were running with it like it was fact. GloRilla served time for theft, rapper's shocking criminal past. It got so out of hand that Glo had to hop on IG Live and clear it up. Y'all really believe I went to prison over some damn cereal? Come on now. And now, with this arrest, people started painting a whole narrative about her being reckless. They dug into everything. From her tweets, her lyrics, even who she'd been seen with. Suddenly, the story wasn't just GloRilla arrested, it was here's why we saw it coming. They ignored the fact that she was the one who called for help. They ignored the fact that she wasn't even home when the drugs were found. And they definitely ignored the fact that her name only stayed in the news because of leaked jail footage and tabloid rumors.
And let's get to the root of the thing. Somebody invaded her property, went in her crib, robbed her property, stole her jewelry, went there with, I'm sure, weapons. Her family was there, could have got killed, could have got hurt, and then you arrest the person that called the police?
What's worse, all that old noise started mixing with new whispers. Now people were saying she had a type, hinting at her alleged ties to both the jail guard and one of the burglars. They started talking like she was living a double life. Industry sweetheart in public, tied up with criminals in private, no proof, just talk. But it stuck. And that's the danger of fame. The same platform that gave her millions of fans now gave people millions of reasons to judge her based on old mistakes, jokes out of context, and a whole lot of speculation. The craziest part, none of her past issues involved her being a victim. She took accountability for the DUI. She laughed off the cereal story. She kept it pushing. But now, the moment she needed support the most, people were acting like she brought it all on herself. Chapter 4, The Masked Man. But while everybody was dissecting the guard situation, the streets was putting together another puzzle. Remember them 3 masked robbers? Well, one of them might have had his own history with Big Glo. When you really analyze that robbery, certain things stand out. How did they know exactly when GloRilla would be in Phoenix? Her WNBA appearance was promoted, yeah, but her exact travel schedule, that's insider information. How did they navigate that house so smooth? Memphis PD noted they went straight to specific locations. Master bedroom closet, a particular dresser drawer, a hidden safe. That's not random burglar behavior. Streets started talking about a dude from GloRilla's past. We ain't putting his government name out there, but let's just say he was around during the foundation days. Back in 2018, 2019, when Gloria was still trying to figure out if this rap thing was gonna work, he was part of that circle, knew the struggle, was there for the late nights when she was writing verses in her cousin's basement. The timeline was telling. As GloRilla's star rose, certain people got left behind. Not out of malice necessarily. Sometimes you just outgrow your environment. But imagine being that dude, watching someone you used to kick it with blow up to international status, seeing them on BET, at the Grammys, doing songs with Cardi B. Meanwhile, you still in the same spot, maybe feeling like you contributed to that come up in some way. According to sources close to the investigation, one of the robbers showed intimate knowledge of the house layout. They knew which windows had sensors, which doors had cameras, where the blind spots were. They knew GloRilla's routines, her habits, where she kept valuables. That's not information you get from casing a house for a few days. That's knowledge built over time, through access, through trust that was later betrayed. What made this arrest cut even deeper for her fans was the timing. Not long before all this went down, Glo had been switching lanes, ditching the wild party image and stepping into something more grounded, more spiritual. Folks remember when she popped out online talking about celibacy, going live to tens of thousands, saying she was locking in with herself and God. Some folks clowned, some cheered, but she stood 10 toes down on it. That celibacy announcement, it shook the whole game. During an IG Live packed with over 50K viewers, she broke it down. This wasn't about clout, it was about growth. Big voices from the gospel world tapped in too, showing love and respect. Christian artists left comments saying how proud they were and how real the struggle to change can be. Glo reposted it all, grateful, humble, and showing everybody this wasn't no act. Her whole online vibe flipped. No more party clips or thirst traps. It was scripture quotes, Bible studies, church service selfies. Even the day before the arrest, she shared a Bible verse on her story. Word was she was pulling up to food drives and doing church on Sundays. People close to her said it was real life, not just something for the gram. She even started her own foundation back in Memphis. Tomorrow Ain't Promised. It was all about helping single moms trying to make ends meet. At the launch, folks were tearing up hearing her speak about her own mama working 3 jobs just to keep things afloat. Local reporters pulled up, and she didn't just talk. She pledged big money to back it up and even got other artists to match the donations. But the system didn't care. Fans couldn't help but feel the sting seeing her pacing in that cell after all the progress she made. The rap game got a long memory, and when Glo got locked up, all her past smoke came back up like it never left. This industry feeds off drama, and Glo, she'd had enough beef to make a whole mixtape. One of the biggest ones? Her clash with JT from City Girls. It kicked off with some shady tweets after Glo's BET performance. Glo didn't stay quiet. She fired right back. And from there, it spiraled quick. The tension hit a new level at a Fashion Week party. Word is they ran into each other and it popped off. Security had to separate their crews. JT went on live later claiming she don't do the fake tough act and would say whatever she had to say to someone's face. Glo came back on her own live calling cap, said JT ain't even look her in the eye. But when the arrest happened, JT didn't say a word, no tweets, no subs, just silence. And honestly, that said more than anything else. Even the barbs didn't pile on. One big fan page that usually goes in on Glo said straight up, "We don't even mess with her like that, but this situation ain't right. The real villain here is the system." When even your haters pause to show respect, you know it's bigger than rap. Then the internet started spinning her personal life. People had been pairing her up with Duke Dennis after they were seen out together, but then they unfollowed each other, and fans went into overdrive. Duke hopped on stream saying it wasn't that deep, they were just cool, but even he said what happened to her was bogus and she didn't deserve it. As if that wasn't enough, gossip blogs started running wild when she popped up at a Memphis show with Finesse 2 times. Headlines went crazy with rumors, and Glo had to shut it down. She posted that she couldn't even take a damn photo without people making up stories. She even tied it back to why she went celibate in the first place. Too much noise, too many lies. The public reaction to this whole saga exposed something deeper about how the system works. Here you got GloRilla, a victim of a crime, sitting in jail while the perpetrators was free. Legal experts started weighing in, and even they was confused by Memphis PD's actions.
Justin, this is an extreme injustice. We are doing what we're taught to do. Something happens at home, somebody's trying to break into our home. What do? We call the police. This just further creates an injustice where people are going to be less likely to want to call the police.
According to criminal justice professors, arresting a crime victim on unrelated charges immediately after they report a crime is highly unusual. Yeah, if someone got warrants, they might eventually have to deal with that. But the timing, the optics, it looked like retaliation. It looked like they was waiting for an opportunity to grab her. And what better time than when she's vulnerable, just been robbed, seeking help from the very system that's supposed to protect her. The leaked footage became a turning point. Before it dropped, public opinion was mixed. Some folks was on that she must have done something wave, but seeing her in that cell looking stressed while that guard acted familiar, that humanized her. People saw a young woman dealing with trauma, first the robbery, then the arrest, now having her private moments broadcast to the world. Some fans still believe that footage was dropped not just to shame her, but to expose her private connections in the mess, both in and outside the jail. Chapter 5, Glo's rising. But here's what separated GloRilla from the rest. She didn't let this situation define her. Even while dealing with legal drama, public scrutiny, and personal betrayal, she was making moves that showed growth. The transformation started before the robbery. Around early 2024, GloRilla started moving different. Looking back, that decision might have saved her from worse. Imagine if she was still actively involved with that guard or that potential robber when this went down. The scandal would have been 10 times messier. But because she had already created distance, they could only attack from the outside. Her music reflected this evolution too. Yeah, she still had them club bangers that made everybody get loose, but tracks like Blessed and Yeah Glo showed layers. She was talking about financial literacy, generational wealth, lifting up other women. The same person who gave us FNF, Let's Go, was now dropping gems about investing and ownership. Behind the scenes, the business moves was even smarter. While dealing with court dates and lawyers, GloRilla was building an empire. Merchandise deals that she owned, not just licensed. Brand partnerships with equity stakes. She started a foundation in Memphis focused on financial literacy for young women. She wasn't just trying to get rich, she was trying to change the game for the next generation. The way she handled the scandal showed maturity. No Twitter rants, no Instagram lives going off. She let her lawyer speak on the legal stuff, addressed her fans with gratitude for their support, and kept working. Every court appearance, she showed up professional. Every interview, she redirected to her music and her mission. By the time the charges got dropped or reduced to minor violations, public opinion had completely shifted. The girl who got arrested for being robbed was now seen as a symbol of resilience. The leaked footage that was supposed to embarrass her became evidence of a broken system. The connections to her past that was meant to bring her down only highlighted how far she had come. Chapter 6, The Aftermath. What this whole situation revealed was bigger than just GloRilla. It showed how fame, race, gender, and justice intersect in America. It showed how quickly the system can turn on those it's supposed to protect. It showed how the past can come back to haunt you, especially when you're winning. The footage might have leaked. The guard might have tried to expose her. The robber might have violated her sanctuary. And the system might have tried to break her. But at the end of the day, GloRilla showed everybody what Memphis women been knowing all along. We don't break easy. We bend, we adapt, we survive, and then we thrive. As of now, GloRilla's still making hits, still building her empire, still representing for everybody who've been counted out. The scandal that was supposed to end her career became just another chapter in her story. And if you know anything about Memphis, you know our stories don't end. They just get more interesting. The streets remember everything. They remember who stood tall when pressure was applied. They remember who turned pain into power. And they definitely remember how GloRilla took the worst situation and flipped it into motivation for the next generation. That footage might have showed her at her lowest, but what came after showed her at her highest. And that's the part of the story that really matters. And there it is, everything laid out for y'all. Appreciate you for riding with me through the whole story. Real ones know what's up. Hit that like, sound off in the comments, and don't forget to pull back up for the next drop.